Hello friends, in today's video we will be understanding more about rights of the child. As I have already mentioned, we will be understanding the rights of children in different categories. First, we will look into Indian Constitution to find the constitutional rights of children. Then we will analyze various legal rights available for children in India, and these legal rights are obtained through various acts and laws that are available in India, that are enacted in India. Then we will look into other rights, and these are several cultural and the rights existing in society. And finally, we will look into international laws and covenants that protects the right of the children. So we will be mainly seeing these three categories of rights here. And according to cultural rights actually includes the rights available through the practices that are existing in the country, existing in the society. For example, in the case of a child, we know the culture that we have is that we often give a very good attention and care for the child, and that is a common practice. And if some kid or some child is being excessively punished by some parents, often the society itself exerts some form of pressure in order to be a good parent, in order to avoid the misbehavior of parents. So these are the cultural rights that I am mentioning about. So we will be looking into constitutional rights, legal rights and international laws. And other rights are very broad category. You can include plenty of rights that you see around in this category. And why should a child be provided with special rights? Because as we know, all the categories that we are seeing in this session, women, child, minorities, Dalits, HIV patients, etc., all are weaker sections of the society, all are vulnerable sections of the society. And if their rights are not specifically protected, they are often prone to human right violations and other forms of discriminations. So it is a necessity to protect the child, protect the rights of these groups, and especially that of children. First, let us look into constitutional rights of children. Now, since you have already gone through various fundamental rights and DPSP, I will give you one activity. You can first look into the list of fundamental rights and DPSP that you have in your hands and find what are the rights of children, what are the rights specifically given for children in those articles. Now you can pause the video and find some of the rights that specifically applies for the children. So if you analyze the Constitution, you can find some rights that specifically protects children and give them specific rights. For example, Article 21A. Article 21A is right to education. And children in the age group 6 to 14 years are given right to free and compulsory education. So this is the right that specifically applies to children alone. And let me also mention one point here. All the rights available in the Constitution as well as all the acts and systems in India are applicable to all people, including children. So there is no distinction between adults and children when it comes to human rights. All human rights are rights of children as well. But here we will be seeing those rights that specifically applies to the children. For example, Article 14, right to equality, is applicable for both children and adults. But Article 21A is applicable only in this age group, 6 to 14 years. If you are of 18 years and you say that you have the fundamental right to free and compulsory education, that is not true. After 14 years, you do not have the fundamental right to have education. Then, right to be protected from any hazardous employment till the age of 14 years, Article 24. And that also protects children from child labor, hazardous employment. So you have to notice here, the article in the Indian Constitution protects children only from hazardous employment. Not all forms of child labor are banned by this article. If the labor is not hazardous, then those kinds of child labor are actually permitted according to this article. But later, all forms of child labor were prohibited by the Prevention of Child Labor Act, Child Labor Prohibition and Regulation Act. So that is the difference between this article and the act. We will come to the legal provision of this act later. Then these two are the rights available to the children in the fundamental rights parts of the India, fundamental rights of India. Then when we look into the directive principles of state policy, DPSP, Article 45 is a very important article. This article provides right to early childhood care. Up to 6 years, children are to be provided with care and education, and that is the aspect of Article 45. And when we come into some other articles, Article 39E and Article 39F also contains some provisions for the protection of children. You need not by heart these provisions, but you can just understand the basic meaning of or basic implications of these rights. Right to be protected from being abused and forced by economic necessity to enter occupations unsuited to their age or strength. That is mentioned in Article 39E. And right to equal opportunities and facilities to develop in a healthy manner and in conditions of freedom and dignity, and guaranteed protection of childhood and youth against exploitation and against moral and material abandonment. So what is the meaning of this article? The right to have equal opportunity and facility to develop in the childhood and as well as in the youth. That is mentioned in Article 39F. So you have to remember that these are provisions in DPSP. So these are not fundamental rights. These are DPSP, which are actually guidelines for the government while enacting laws. Then let us move on to legal rights. We will have a look into various acts passed by the Parliament that protects the rights of children. Right to Education Act. This act goes hand in hand with Article 21A because both are related to right to education, and this gives special norms that should be practiced when it comes to the matters of education of children in the age group 6 to 14. Along with Article 21A, this act gives several powers to the children to have access to education. And then another important act that you might be seeing in newspaper is Protection of Children from Sexual Offences Act, POCSO. You might have heard this name in the newspaper related to numerous cases. This is a very powerful act in India, and it aims at punishing the offenders who are guilty of sexual offences against children below 18 years. And this act is very powerful in order to give severe punishment as well as timely arrest of those who are guilty. So the sexual offence against the children are considered a severe crime in India, more than sexual offence against adults. Then Child Labour Prohibition and Regulation Act 1986, which was later amended in 2016. And according to the 1986 Act, the 1986 Act regulates the working condition for children in employment and prohibits the working of children in certain kinds of employment alone. So according to the 1986 Act, not all child labor are completely banned, but the 2016 amendment brought some more regulations into the system, and now child labor is almost completely banned. Children are allowed to work only in family enterprises. So you can compare this with Article 24. So in Article 24 we saw children are prohibited from working in hazardous employment. But later acts were passed in order to bring more regulation to child labor. Then there is Juvenile Justice, Care and Protection of Children Act. So it is to give protection and care for children in conflict with law. So you know, often children might commit crimes, and the crimes committed by children are not often considered as severe as that committed by adults, because they have less understanding and less sense when compared to adults. So they need to have some protection even after committing crimes, and children who are in conflict with the law are protected and cared by this act. And this act requires the state to provide free legal aid to children who commit certain kinds of crimes. So free legal aid is there, and this protects children who are in conflict with the law. Then Child Marriage Restraint Act is there to prevent child marriage. You know, child marriage is a very social evil that were prevalent in our society in earlier times. And this act, passed in 1929, set the minimum age for marriage, 21 years for a male child and 18 years for a girl child. Then there is an Immoral Traffic Prevention Act. This prohibits trafficking of children and provides for the care of rescued children. As mentioned in the name of this act itself, it prevents immoral trafficking. Many of the ideas contained in these acts are included in the name itself, like Immoral Traffic Act prevents immoral trafficking, Child Marriage Restraint Act restrains child marriage, then Juvenile Justice Act acts for the justice of juveniles, then Child Labor Act prohibits child labor, and so on. So you can just learn the names of this act, and from the name itself you can understand what is the concept that is mentioned within the act. Then Prenatal Diagnostic Techniques Regulation and Prevention Act. This one was earlier mentioned in the Rights of Women. What does this act do? This act prohibits prenatal sex determination and thus prohibits or thus avoids female feticide. So you cannot determine the sex of the child before he or she is born, and if in India it is allowed to determine the sex of a child before it is born, then there is a chance of increased female feticide, because in India, you know, currently the number of women per 1,000 men is just 933. If there are 1,000 men, number of women is just 933. That means some girl children are getting missed, and it implies the increased number of female feticide in India. And this act gives some powers in order to prohibit determination of sex before the birth of child, and thus tries to eliminate female feticide. Then Indian Penal Code has plenty of provisions to protect the rights of child. IPC sections are there that gives very severe punishment for offences against children. And finally, there is a National Policy for Children passed in 1974, which is the first written policy for the children in India, and it provides for the better enforcement of constitutional rights and international laws related to children. So these are the various legal provisions available in India. You can study either 5 or 6 of them, and you can try to learn about the names of these acts, and from the act, the name of the act, you can elaborate on the meaning of the act and the provision contained within the act. Now let us move on to find the rights available for children in the international context. As I have already mentioned, all human rights are applicable to adults as well as children. So, when we take any human right, it is applicable to children as well. But we will be seeing rights that are specifically applicable for children alone. And Universal Declaration of Human Rights, the UDHR, is the guiding lamp for all types of international covenants and human rights declarations. And based on UDHR, later other significant conventions and laws related to rights of the children were passed. And most important among them is UN Convention on the Rights of the Child, UNCRC, United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child. And the most important features of this UNCRC are it applies equally to both girls and boys. So no gender discrimination up to the age of 18, even if they are married or already have children of their own. So this is a very universal law available to all children below the age of 18. And this international covenant brings rights in the international arena. Then the rights guaranteed by the UNCRC are guided by the principles of best interest of the child and non-discrimination and respect for the views of the child. So, while formulating the rights contained within the UNCRC, the principles that were guiding the formulators were the best interest of the child, non-discrimination between children, and respect for the views of the child. These aspects were considered while formulating the main theme of this UNCRC. Then the UNCRC emphasizes the importance of family and the need to create an environment that is conducive to the healthy growth and development of children. So the family and environment for healthy growth, all these are given sufficient importance in the framework. Then this obligates the state to respect and ensure that children get a fair and equitable deal in society. So different nations are given obligatory provisions to bring some respect and rights for children in their respective provisions, respective societies. So international laws are available in the international sphere, and different nations have to adopt these laws into practice. For example, India has passed this many number of acts and many other acts just to protect the rights of the children. And the UNCRC acts like a guiding lamp or sets some sorts of parameters while bringing the rights related to children into practice. And the UNCRC draws attention to 4 sets of civil, political, social, economic and cultural rights. And UNCRC mentions these rights should be implemented or made available for children in every country. For example, rights related to survival. And a child can survive only if he or she has the right to life, right to health, right to nutrition, right to standard of living and nationality. So basic survival is to be ensured through implementing these rights or giving these rights to children. Then a child should be protected. And protection is brought by including freedom from all forms of exploitation, abuse, inhuman treatment and neglect. And these freedoms are to be provided to children, and exploitation, abuse, etc. are to be avoided in order to give protection for the children. And there should be rights for the development of the children, such as right to education, right to early childhood care, right to social security, leisure. All these are necessary for the development of the child. And these rights should be given to children in every country. And finally, the child should have some right for participation. For example, freedom of expression, access to appropriate information, freedom of thought, conscience, religion. All these are to be given in every country in order to have right to participation for children. So if you look at all these rights are already existing in India and children are given with these rights. So we can conclude that in the Indian context, UNCRC is properly maintained, but there are plenty of other countries where you might not find these rights, where you might find discrimination between girls and boys, where there are no sufficient laws to give right to education. So you might have heard the story of Malala. So there are plenty of stories like this where you can see visible discrimination in many countries. So in India, you are given with all these rights, but whether these rights are practiced or not is a question that is remaining. So I hope you understood today's concepts, the rights of children available in India as well as in the international context. Thank you.